Yeah, so I'm John Heck. I am also a vet, military retiree, Air Force type. But while I was working days at the Pentagon, I was going to law school at night. My father was a lawyer. And when I retired, I hung a shingle and now only do exclusively estate planning. Um, I love it for a bunch of reasons. First of all, 2/3 of Americans have no plan at all. Um, of those that have no plan, which is the majority, only about 20% think that it's not important. So if you don't have a plan, you still think it's important, which you don't know where to get one or how to start one. I reviewed a lot of JAG plans. I've had 3 or 4 of them myself before I started doing this work. They're good, but they're just legal documents. They're not actually a plan, right? So I really guide people through that process. So where Tracy would stop, I would think, is here's how we build that wealth during your lifetime. What I would say is great. Now that you've done that, and you should continue to do that, I'm going to protect it in the event of your death or your incapacity. In the event of one or both of you. So if you're married, what if you're both in that car crash? Then what happens? What if your kids are minors? Then what happens? And we go through all these different scenarios to build a comprehensive plan that works when you need it most, and hopefully stays out of probate court, which keeps your families out of court, out of conflict, keeps creditors at bay, avoids significant loss, because the time when you need a plan is way before the time when you need that plan to work.
Nick, I'm not a lawyer, but I live in Maryland, so I couldn't use you because I need a Maryland guy like you. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah, a couple options. I just last month tried to waive into Maryland. They're like, no, not yet. Give us a few years, we'll waive you in. But I've got a lot of referrals, so you got a couple options. If you were Maryland, wanted to go straight Maryland lawyer, I've got some names. You just go work with them. If you really like working with me, because I'm just such an awesome guy, with great hair or whatever, then I can build your plan, co-counsel with a Maryland attorney, who would then review it to make sure it complies with Maryland law. But I cannot, of course, practice law where I'm not licensed. So that's
Yeah. Okay. So you can do 85% of it, and then the local Maryland person has to execute it.
Yeah, pretty much, or review it. Because Maryland law is going to vary like every state. It's not as big a deal in Maryland. If you try to practice in Florida, they'll crush you because Florida is special that way. So it really varies state to state. My preference, honestly, is just to refer you to a Maryland lawyer so you can go cradle to grave with that person, right? So.
And John and Scott, you have brought up a really good collaboration, a point for collaboration. And in the chat, I have put the collaborative Google Sheet link. So if you have a tab, all of our contact information, you can update there and refer back to it. It will exist after this meeting. And that would be a good way or a good note to make, that something you guys want to talk about later. So that after this, relatively short time where we get to share a little bit about what we do, you guys have the opportunity to have a more in-depth conversation to see where the partnership or the working together, how can we help each other? And that is facilitated by our collaborative Google Sheet, which is, in my opinion, what makes these all calls the best online networking that you'll find. Because I've not seen it exist in any other sort of networking environment. And it is really, I think, a game changer for making those connections later in the week, because we shut off, we go to dinner, you go to bed and you forget. But you can always come back to the Google Sheet and see who was on and who did I talk to and who do I want to talk to about what.